And I would like to introduce everybody to Ngozi Bell. Ngozi Bell is a partner at Transierra Investment Corporation, a private equity and business development consulting company. Prior to that, she was an appointee for the regulatory affairs for Mid-Atlantic states with the United States Small Business Administration Office and Advocacy. She's a corporate strategist, a motivational team builder, and she has a physics degree, an electrical engineering degree. Ngozi launched her career at AT&T, letting in some more people. Ngozi Bell is now going to introduce the rest of the panel.
Okay, so Liz,
yes,
Liz, a mistake has been made. You've got to introduce me, Winifred.
I'm sorry. I get so confused. I'm going to introduce everybody because I can't.
So introduce me, and then we will.
Okay, Winifred is a John Maxwell certified coach and speaker. She's a leadership trainer, facilitator. She holds a double major bachelor degree in electrical and electronic engineering, summa cum laude, a master's in telecommunication, a systems engineer. Winifred has worked in the oil and gas sector and telecommunication, and is passionate about STEM and education and peace building. She's the founder of Think STEM Foundation, a subsidiary of E-Wired Communication, which strives to increase the number of girls pursuing a STEM career by connecting girls with an inspiring community. So I'd like to introduce you to Winifred.
So thank you so much. So I'm also the head of WITI Africa. So today we're going to be diving a bit deep into doing business in Africa, the Ikigai way. Doing business in Africa, the Ikigai way is a philosophical concept. To see my co-moderator will tell us a bit more about the Ikigai, but it's a philosophical concept that you can use whether you are in Africa or in Asia, wherever. So I would like to introduce my co-facilitator, Tosin Arowojulu. So bear with me if you see me squint. Tosin, because I left my glasses at home, I refuse to age. So I tell you that I forget my glasses. I think it's intentional, but it's now becoming, anyway. So Tosin Arowojulu is a professional civil engineer who moved from the United States to Bahrain in 2000. She's a certified leadership coach, speaker and trainer, and DISC behavioral analyst consultant with the John Maxwell Group. She's the CEO of Leadership Excel Consultancy, a company focused on delivering bespoke leadership and communication strategies for building cohesive and productive high-performance teams. As well, Tosin is the current president of the, I'm sorry, I can barely say, of the Lioness Club, a branch at the Lion Club of, I think it's in Bahrain, and past president of the American Women's Association of Bahrain, with over 200 members with more than 40 nationalities. During her term as president of the AWA, let me stop a minute here. I need Tosin to be spotlighted. Can you take Ngozi and Ibilola away from my spotlight? Tosin, can Tosin be spotlighted with me? And can we put Ibilola and Ngozi Bell in the audience, please? My IT person, David Layton, can you please help me? I need Tosin to be spotlighted. I'm introducing her so the audience will not get confused. I will appreciate that. Can we just do a little work here? Thank you. I need Tosin. This is Ngozi Bell. I need Tosin to be spotlighted. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, so can we remove Ngozi Bell? Thank you so much. Just a bit of housekeeping, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that, okay? So Tosin, back to you. I will bring my glasses next time. During her term as president of the AWA, the association became the first non-Bahrain NGO to receive a grant for the award-winning Bahrain Quilt Project. Tosin is an active member of several organizations, including the American Chamber of Commerce Bahrain, the Bahrain Business Women's Society, Bahrain Chamber of Commerce, Bahrain Society of Engineers, Bahrain Society of Training and Development, Lions International Management Workers Protection Society, Toastmasters International. I think she's really up there with Toastmasters. This is my best friend for life, by the way. Let me continue. Her passion is to inspire positive life transformation, and she's dedicated to equipping and leading others to achieve their personal and professional goals. Tosin, welcome to this panel discussion, and thank you for agreeing to participate. So Tosin, please, can you introduce Dr. Ibilola Amao and Ngozi Bell? I will appreciate it, IT, if you can remove me from the spotlight. Thank you. And you can bring the others into the spotlight. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Winifred, for that very nice introduction. And now I'd like to introduce our other speakers for this session. I'll start with Dr. Ibilola Amao. She is the principal consult of Lonadec Global Services. Lonadec is a multi-award-winning women-owned ISO 9001-2015 engineering, technology, and information management company. Lonadec builds capacity, capability, and competence of STEM talent to deliver value through the democratization of technology in the energy, power, infrastructure, manufacturing, oil and gas. Since establishment in 1991, Lonadec has trained over 5,000 engineers and empowered over 100,000 STEM talent. Lonadec is currently collaborating with Microsoft, LinkedIn, and GitHub to digitally empower over 10,000 STEMpreneurs and techpreneurs in Africa. And their focus is on human capital development initiatives and continuing professional development activities. Now, Dr. Ibilola is a fellow of the Institute of Directors, Energy Institute UK, Nigeria Academy of Engineering, and Nigerian Society of Engineers. She is an EI International Energy Week board member, member of the panel of judges for the Royal Academy of Engineering UK, Africa Prize, as well as the EI Annual Awards. She is a co-founder of the Women in Energy Network, a council member of WeConnect International, Nigeria, and she provides engineering technology expertise on boards. And with that, I would like to bring her to the stage, and would also like to introduce Ngozi Bell. If we could also have Ngozi Bell spotlighted while I read her introduction. Ngozi Bell is a partner at the Trans-Sahara Investment Corporation, which is a private equity and business development consulting company. Prior to that, she was the appointee for regulatory affairs for the Mid-Atlantic states with the United States Small Business Administration Office of Advocacy. As a corporate strategist and motivational team builder with vast transatlantic experience, Ngozi Bell has a physics degree from University of Port Harcourt and an electrical engineering degree from Florida A&M University. She launched her career in telecoms, AT&T, Lucent, and Agere systems, and today specializes in venture capital strategies, technology strategies, new business development, and business growth and rescue. As director at Lucent Microelectronics, Agere System, and LSI Corporation in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Ngozi was responsible for designing and executing the long-term business and strategic direction of semiconductor communications, wired and wireless application. In addition, she is the co-founder of the Africa Leadership Alliance and founder of the Entrepreneurship University Diaspora, Bell, Miranet LLC, Women's History Month, Lehigh Valley, and a board member of the Lincoln Leadership Academy, the Women Empowerment Project, Association of Women in Science, and the Association of African NGOs. Prior to public service, Ngozi was Vice President, Birchmere Ventures, an early stage venture capital firm with 160 million to 250 million under management. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, and Winifred, I think now you can join. Winifred?
Yes, thank you. Can I be spotlighted? Can I be added?
There
Thank
we
you
go.
so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody agreeing to be on the panel discussion. Ibilola Amao has gone over and above to be in this discussion. She's actually running at a USAID meeting right now. She's actually training over 200 people. So I know she's had to hand the baton to somebody else. I've been in the training. I was in the training on Monday and Tuesday, and she was doing a fantastic job. Sorry, I couldn't do Tuesday. I was in WITI session, but she's doing a fantastic job, really equipping young people, because Africa has the world's youngest population, under 30, 60% of Africa's population is under 30 years old. What that means is that there's massive opportunity for business, massive business opportunities to upskill that population. And Dr. Ibilola Amao has stepped into that space, and she's providing excellent training. Her training yesterday, the day before, on college and career counseling was really top quality. So Ibilola, I really appreciate. I know you said I should stop calling you doctor, but I know it takes a lot of work to become a doctor. So Dr. Ibilola, I really appreciate it that you have stretched yourself to be here today. And I also appreciate Ngozi Bell. Ngozi has traveled to many countries in the past 2 weeks, and she just flew into Imo State, and she's made just like 15 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, and she's put everything aside just to be here. So I really want you people to appreciate the top talent that will be talking today, and how they have gone over and above to contribute to this discussion. And that is because of what WITI stands for. And WITI stands for No Woman is Left on Her Own. And so I am honored that they are here. And my co-facilitator, Tosi Arowojulu, my best friend for life, she's calling all the way from Bahrain. So I just appreciate. There's a fun fact about about 3 of us. We all went to the same secondary school. Tosi, Ngozi, and myself. They told me I should stop telling you how long ago we went to that secondary school, so I should stop saying that. But anyway, we've been doing life together for a long time, 4 decades. Dr. Ibilola, we just found out that she actually went to our sister school. So Black girls rock, and another fun fact is, I don't know if you can call it a fun fact. It's not a fun fact, actually, but there's a reason we are wearing orange. So we are all wearing orange. Dr. Ibilola has an orange, and she has an orange stripe on her sweater, because I had to say everybody has to wear orange because we are orange in the world. And Liz Doberman actually has an orange. She went to get an orange scarf. And the reason
Also, Ryan has orange.
Ryan has orange. So,
yes. All right.
And the reason we are doing that is that it's not enough for us to continue to talk about tech and talk about getting girls into tech careers without really talking about the landmines that girls do face. November 25th is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. December 10th is the International Human Rights Day. Now, UN Women, between November 25th and December 10th, they've created this campaign called hashtag 16 Days of Activism. And they have encouraged organizations, individuals to unite together to advocate to eliminate violence against women and girls. And so they are encouraging everybody to wear orange and put it on social media, take a stance, let your voice be heard. Because what happens is that women who are abused or violated in any shape or form, there are different types of abuse. Most times their voices are not heard. So they need people like us to be their advocates to make sure that their voices are heard in the corridors of power. So today we are joining that campaign, the WITI Africa track. We are wearing orange in whatever shape or size it takes, you know. And I'll tell you another very quick story. Sorry, I'm a storyteller. We'll get into a discussion. But I'm wearing orange hat and an orange scarf. Where's my orange scarf? Because it took me forever to get an orange scarf. It's too hot today, so I can't put this on my neck. But I went yesterday. But you know, I went into I'm in Toronto, Canada. I went into Eaton looking for something orange. And when I got into Adidas, I told them the story, and Adidas gave me a gift, a free gift of an orange pair of leggings. And they said, please come back. We would like to support your campaign. So I'm encouraging everybody. We still have a few more days to December 10th. Let's orange the world. Let's make the world a safe place for women and girls, which aligns very much with Carolyn Litton's vision. So thank you so much. So that is it for me. I'm going to hand the mic back to my best friend for life, Tosin Arowojolo. Go for it.
Well, thank you, Winifred. As you know, the theme of this summit is purpose and profit. And I don't know how many people have ever heard of Ikigai. Any show of hands? Anybody? I don't see any hands. So I'll just give you a very quick, for the sake of time, very brief of what it means. It means life purpose. So it's a way of defining your personal meaning of life in relation to your talent, your passion, your profession, and what you can give to the world. So there are 4 questions that we ask, which are, what you love, what do you love? And then the second question is, what are you good at? The third is, what can you be paid for? And the fourth is, what the world needs. Now, when you're able to answer those questions with one answer, so what you love is what you're good at, is what you get paid for, and what the world needs, then you found your purpose. And as a result, that is also the way that you bring your profit to the world. You come with your mission, and you give your mission as part of what you're born with, what you're made to do, and what you give to the world. So that is in a nutshell what Ikigai is. And we hope that in the future, we'll be able to go even in more depth as to what it means. So with that, I'd like to turn over to our speakers, Dr. Bilola and also Ngozi. And I'll start with Ngozi. Ngozi, could you tell us about your organization?
Absolutely.
And yes, go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. Finish your.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Tell us about what problem your organization solves, and also how does it align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals?
Okay. So that's first, thank you so much for that question. It's really nice to be back on the WITI panel. It's always a great pleasure to be with you all. So I'll talk a little bit about our organization. But before I do that, I just wanted to sort of piggyback on what you were talking about with respect to Ikigai, because just conceptually, it sounds very interesting and also very important. What we've tried to do is, as a portion of that, is we believe that we solve problems that enable the greater good. So if you look at that, that sort of takes some of that concept of what we're talking about. Solving problems that enable the greater good is what we call our omenala. And in Igbo language, it means the customary duty Your duty as a business person is to solve problems that affects the greater good. And that's why if you look at the suite of companies that we have sort of launched out of our main company, is that we believe that we serve the pyramid from the bottom up. So I want to just kind of start conceptually, because at the end of the day, what is a business? A business is there to be an enablement to solve problems and ensure that profit is made, a good business, right, by enabling people, right? So what we do is we serve the pyramid from the bottom up. And if you look at any pyramid, what happens? The bottom is wide, right? The top is narrow. And our concept is that because we start at the bottom, what that means is we're thinking community, we're thinking the masses, we're thinking the people. So how can we solve a problem that affects the most people in the best way possible? That's the philosophy behind all our businesses. So I'll just quickly run down, 4 of the main businesses. So our first business is the one that I got introduced as, which is Trans-Sahara Investments Corporation, TSIC for short. And we invest in companies. So what we do is, of course, we raise money, both institutional and non-institutional, and then we invest in companies. Our investments so far have been in fintech, the fintech sector. One of our companies, MyGo, has actually expanded from Nigeria into Brazil. They're doing really amazing things. They've shown incredible results. And what was really fascinating for me is that the impact that technology plays in all this, right? We started this company to really create digital IDs for people to allow them get into the marketplace, to allow them get access to capital, to allow them get mortgages and all these things, or whatever it is that capital provides. And you won't believe this, right? Many people think that people who are not very wealthy are troublesome, but the opposite is actually true. We have never had a default, because when you respect people, you provide them the resource they need, you support them, guess what? They're eager to reciprocate. They're eager to reciprocate. So that's one. And just philosophically, just to talk about that a little bit, is that when we look at investment means we're putting skin in the game, because we're saying you, our end customer, is worth it. So we're going to put our money, we're going to put a bet on you because we believe that what you're doing is going to change the world. So it's this beautiful exchange. So I just hope that you're getting sort of the philosophy of how we do business. The second one I wanted to talk about in terms of our business is our media business. In fact, part of why I'm in Nigeria, some really personal, serious, heart-breaking things is part of the reason why I'm here. But the other reason is also to do meet some of our clients and some businesses. We just recently launched a media business. And so our goal, as I was sitting with some of the executives a few days ago in Abuja, our goal is to make sure that quality and truth is paramount. Quality and truth is paramount, that we deliver a product because we believe that the people deserve the right product, not to become a political machine, not to become a voice of somebody, but truly be an organization that delivers quality to the people and for the people. And then we have clinical trials, a company business, a support. So we don't do clinical trials. I just want to be clear. What we do is clinical trial support. So we help to recruit the patient population for clinical trials. We help to find venues because that's extremely important. We try to make sure that trials are inclusive, because guess what? In the world we're going into, I think it was you who talked about the SDG goals, right? When we start looking at poverty, when we start looking at healthcare, right? We recognize very quickly that Africa is going to be critical in every conversation, whether we like it or not. Greatest population, largest markets that is highly untapped, right? Youngest population. So this is a population that is going to live for a long time and must be considered. So from our perspective, how can we have any product put on the market in the world we're in today that does not involve people of color, that does not involve Africans, right? That does not involve diversity, that does not involve immigrants. If you do that, you literally have a product that is discriminating against one of the biggest populations. So we try to make that right because we think that that's extremely important. So that's how we engage, some of those SDG goals, is how do we do things that ensure that we are helping to close that gap, remembering that we're still a business, we have to be profitable, but we have to be wise in the way that we do our business. And then finally, I'll stop because I'm sure Doctor has so many important things to say, and I don't want to miss listening to her. I think that the last one I just want to talk about is our training business. So we do entrepreneurship training. And now one of the areas that we're pivoting to is helping young people bring their dreams to birth, right? I've had the opportunity to do a lot of travel and meet amazing young people who have ideas. I am convinced that cancer is going to be cured. I'm so convinced, I'm not even kidding, that cancer is going to be, that climate change is going to be solved and understood within this generation. So a lot of focus in that area, trying to harness the capacity and the ability of young people through a transgenerational type of relationship. So that's the fourth arm of our business. I'm going to stop there and certainly give a good doctor some time to talk about what she does or whatever it is, Tosin, that you would like to know from her. Thank you.
So Tosin, before you continue with Dr. Ibilola, so Ngozi, I was going to make sure, put up my hand, say, Ngozi, stop there. Ngozi has a lot of information and somebody that you should really have a conversation with so that she can spark your curiosity and really help you enter into the world of entrepreneurship and make some wealth. So she's always a delight to listen to. But Ngozi also has a genius son. Actually, he's my godson. I've inherited him.
You mean you've adopted him?
I've adopted him. His name is Okezie Bell. He's going to have a section on climate change. You have to listen to him. So if you think the mom is something else, listen to the son. And guess what? He's only 16-year-old. So I always brag about him, and I brag about him to my children. My children's like, Mommy, enough. We've had enough. So Ngozi, I just wanted to add that. So let me hand the mic over to Dr. Ibilola. Dr. Ibilola, to say, ask Dr. Ibilola that question again. Thank you so much.
Okay, Dr. Ibilola. We want to hear from you as well. We've just heard from Ngozi and the amazing work she's doing. So we'd like you also to share with us about your organization. We heard a little bit during your introduction. So we want to know what problem does your organization solve and how does it align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals?
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity to share about my organization, which is Lonadec Global Services. We're an engineering technology, information management, and sustainability solutions providing organization. And we've been in existence for 31 years. And I'm so passionate about bridging the gap between industry and academia. Because after my doctorate, I mean, everybody expected me to stay in the university and be a lecturer. And so there's so much attraction for me to stay in the university. But I wanted to solve problems. And I realized there was a gap in domesticating, democratizing, and domiciling technology. When I went back to Nigeria from England, I just decided that I needed to define the problem I wanted to solve, which is empowering young Nigerians and Nigerians in the use of engineering technology. In the oil and gas industry, we had expatriates only using computer systems in 1991. And I had completed my doctorate in computer design, so I practically understood the systems they were using. And practically all my friends, colleagues, and even Africans were saying, oh, no, don't go there. It's just for the expatriates. I had to say, no. Let's just look at how we're going to solve this problem. Let's see how we can bridge the gap. And I realized that human capital development initiatives is key to actually national development and socioeconomic transformation. So 31 years ago, we didn't have smartphones, computers were not cheap. Not everybody could afford computers, multinationals owned the computers. And we had people who just thought that was out of a no-go area. I'm very grateful to God right now that even people on the streets in Africa have at least a smartphone or have access to the internet. So deliberately, we've partnered with proprietors of technology, and we've also partnered with OEMs, which are original equipment manufacturers, who are trying to deploy their solutions in resource-rich emerging economies. We've run skills gaps analysis to identify what the gap between industry and academia is, and we've defined and designed human capital development initiatives to bridge those gaps. So we work with Microsoft, LinkedIn, Amazon Web Services, Aviva, and so many other proprietors of technology to empower hundreds and thousands of Africans. And currently working, so I do a business. There's a business side, there's the social impact side of my business, and there's the corporate social responsibility side of the business. So when I talk about empowering hundreds and thousands of people, that's corporate social responsibility and social impact. Now, the business side is actually deploying systems and integrating systems for asset and information management. So we deploy solutions on smart systems, smart instrumentation, smart control systems. Through technologies such as the Pi and the Historian, we gather data, we upload the data in the cloud, and we dashboard the data. So unified operating systems will enable you to do predictive operations and maintenance, whilst we deploy engineering technology solutions to build 3D models and digital twins of oil and gas energy power assets. So basically, trying to get the workforce, I mean, I have 3 young professional children who've run away from engineering because they think it's too complex and too time-consuming. We're trying to get girls in STEM to catch a vision that there's a place for them to work in male-dominated sectors is another challenge I've taken up. And I realize that we really need to have branded role models such as yourselves, where girls can see that you don't need to be some dowdy, a grumpy lady with a hard hat on her head, struggling in an overall or coverall, going to the site. You could be a funky, you could be a trendy engineer. You could work from home, you could work from anywhere. Digital transformation, energy transition, sustainability issues, and compliance in the environment, social and governance areas have created job opportunities for young girls and young ladies that are trendy. They can work from home and work from anywhere. So right now, I'm basically working very hard to bridge these gaps. And the SDGs we're focused on at WITI at the moment are looking at SDG 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I'm also looking at climate change since COP27. I believe that if you're able to connect your dots with your potential, your talent, and your passion, you will find your purpose. Thank you.
Amazing. That's really amazing what you're doing, both of you. So thank you so much for sharing.
Tosin, can I take the mic from you?
Please go ahead.
Okay. So Dr. Ibilola is actually very humble. Dr. Ibilola is the only female that is a part of the National Society of Engineers, Nigerian Society of Engineers. She talked about, I think it's the Royal Academy of Engineering. I mean, you know, she is a trailblazer. But an interesting fact about Dr. Ibilola and how I found her, LinkedIn is my playground, is that the Hall of Fame, who was inducted last year, Mrs. Olumaduka, my mentor, came to my university and introduced me to engineering, is also Dr. Ibilola's mentor. So I kind of connected the dots, and that was how I started to stalk Dr. Ibilola on LinkedIn by liking every post, commenting on it, and just telling her how awesome she was. And finally she was like, who is this lady? And she decided to have a conversation with me, and we become pals. I think it's been a year now. So I'm so glad that Dr. Ibilola has kind of shared the work she's doing, not only in the business side, in terms of engineering, really core engineering. I remember when I used to do that type of work. Thank God I moved past that stage, and really the social impact that she's doing, you know. So I just wanted to add that before I pass the mic to Tosin to continue with the question. Tosin, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Winifred. So you're a stalker. I didn't know that you were a stalker. One thing I would like to know is, how did you find your purpose? And Ngozi, I want to start with you. How did you find your purpose?
So that's a loaded question, you know. That's a huge loaded question. But I'll kind of talk philosophically, because I believe that life is a journey, right? I'm still embarking on the uncovering of my purpose, right? But one of the things I learned very early on was that two things, in fact. One is that I enjoy problem solving, because I found that problem solving does a couple of things for you, right? One is, of course, that it enables you become part of an entity of people, whether you like it or not. If you're a problem solver, you're going to have to engage a larger group, because there's no problem that was formed, you know, in a vacuum, and no problem can be solved in a vacuum. So that's one. The second thing I learned also was that when you start to engage people sincerely to find answers, guess what? You fall in love with people, because you become educated by their own experiences. So now people matter to you in a very interesting and very tangible way, right? How we express it might be different. Some people are friendly, some people are more communicable, some people are more quiet, but you start to see people from the perspective of the value and the quality they bring. And the third thing was that I like to teach, right? Certainly, you know, I mean, many of us know when we're growing up, we didn't grow up with our parents necessarily telling us to be teachers, right? They say you go be a doctor, lawyer, da, da, da. But one of the things is that hidden in all that career is teaching, right? Best of all those careers is the ability to communicate whatever it is that you know, and cause the light to kind of shine in the eyes of someone else. And I found that every time I did that, every time I taught, every time I mingled with people, every time we tried to solve a problem, I was enriched. The people around me were enriched, right? And so I started saying to myself, because, you know, I worked as an engineer for 18 years, like hardcore. Then I led a group. I led a $1 billion group. In those days, $1 billion was a big deal. Now it's not really a big deal. But in those days, you know, to be in an AT&T or Lucent Technology and leading, being a woman and leading that kind of thing was a big deal. Now, you know, hey, we're talking 26 billion, huge numbers. But the point I'm just trying to make is that the more I grew in my career, the more I realized that at the end of the day, in the core of it was people. So if I set my desire and my focus on creating solutions that impacted people, working with people, and caring about the outcome to people, then I'm fulfilled, right? So that's where, for me, that's where my passion, that's where sort of the essence of who I am is. The vehicle by which I do it isn't really the end goal, right? All these things are vehicles, whether we're investing or we're doing a media company or we're doing some agriculture stuff. It's always about how do people participate, right? Who are the people who need to participate? How do we make sure we're enabling them? So for example, we have an agriculture business and we import products into this country. We don't import raw materials. I just refuse to. I've had opportunities of, we make sure that we import value-added products. They're more expensive, they're harder to do, but guess what? The person that you're working with gets value. There, it's an end product. So the guy who gets it in the UK or in Europe or in America sees the supplier as critical, as king, versus we need your raw materials and then they do all the stuff to it. So for me, honestly, my passion is pursuing people, learning about people, learning from people. Pretty boring, but that's me. Thank you.
I love that so much because it's about people. At the bottom line, that's it. So thank you so much for sharing. I would like to ask Dr. Ibilola the same question. Tell us your journey of finding your purpose as well.
Well, thank you so much. I was just laughing when Ngozi was speaking. I mean, I could connect with so many dots she had. That's just a tomboy. I love maths and physics. I love to solve problems, always climbing trees, riding bicycles, constituting a nuisance to my mom because I wouldn't stay in the kitchen. My late father would come home and pat me on the back and say, don't worry, I understand you. And my late father was an engineer. So I just thought, well, I love to solve problems. I love maths and physics. I'd watched him work passionately in his career. And I just thought I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. And then I realized at some point, he took me on a holiday to Seattle after my A-levels. And we realized that the Boeing manufacturing plant was so high tech. And my late father convinced me that in my lifetime, we won't be designing and building airplanes in Nigeria. So I should look for something else to do. And that's how I ended up in civil and structural engineering because he was a civil and structural engineer. And then I went into computer-aided design and drafting. And then I realized that I wasn't a site professional. My late father asked me to train for 3 years, 18 months in the design office and 18 months on site to decide which kind of engineer I would like to be. So the graduate training program in England is 18 months in the design office and 18 months on site. I realized I wasn't cut out for site work. I love to work on my computer in the office. I was a design office person. And then I realized I love sharing knowledge, developing talent. And I just kind of moved from capacity into capacity building. And then I'm very passionate about the 5 E's of national development and socioeconomic transformation, which is education, enlightenment, engagement, empowerment, engagement, and entrepreneurship. And I've kind of realized that my purpose for the kind of person I am oscillates between education, enlightenment, empowerment, engagement, and entrepreneurship. And that kind of brings out the best in me, my potential, my talent, my passion. When I see a person, I see them in their full stature, I see them in their full potential, and I'm just challenged to get them up and working and going to the point whereby they're able to create immense value for themselves, their families, their communities. So that's part of my DNA. But discovering my purpose has also been in my quiet times by spending quality time with God. It's kind of exposed me to why I am on earth at this time, why I'm a Nigerian and why I'm all over the place. And I just kind of blend along and take each day as it comes. Thanks.
That's so enriching. And it's great that because when we have a purpose, we wake up every morning with intention. You have something to live for. It's not just you're waking up just because, but because you have a reason to live. So thank you to both of you for sharing. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host, BFF Winifred.
I'm going to give you the mic very soon. Anyway, I just love how Tosi and I do live. So if you come to any of our sessions, you just feel like you're just with sisters, just having fun. Dr. Ibilola, tell me where you right now? I know you and Ngozi are jet setters. So are you in London or in Nigeria? Last I talked to you, you were in Nigeria. Are you in London now?
I'm in London. I've been in London since July.
Oh, you've been in London.
I spent different seasons in different places.
Okay, so you're in London right now. Okay, very good. So we actually have an international audience. I mean, just you're in London, Tosi is in Bahrain, Middle East, Ngozi is in Nigeria, and I'm right here in Toronto, Canada. So I'm just going to, so both of you have talked about your purpose, and you can see that they kind of overlap, how you people have traveled your journey, and you've kind of found your purpose. So you do business, and you do business across different continents. Let's look at your business in Africa. Because after I ask you this question, I'll tell you the amazing things that we're doing in WITI Africa. Let's look at your business in Africa. So Africa, the environment is very volatile. The environment is uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. The terminology is called VUCA. So tell me, the theme of this conference is for purpose and for profit. You've talked about your purpose and giving us a lot of words. I'm going to say, it's a wordsmith, it's a master with words. I love to listen to her. How do you manage to be for purpose and for profit in an environment that is so volatile? you know, right now I hear the Nigerian, because I have a gala I'm hosting on Saturday, and I hear the currency in Nigeria is everywhere. And that is just causing havoc in my head on how we're going to host this gala on Saturday. But how do you do business? How do you stay true to your purpose, to your North Star, in a world that is, you know, so topsy-turvy, so volatile? Tell me, how do you do that? So I'm going to ask Dr. Ibilola that question, and then I'll ask Ngozi. Tell
Well,
me.
well, I must tell you, when I returned to Nigeria in 1991, I was determined that I was not going to pay bribe, neither was I ever going to receive bribe. So I started from that core, and that has driven the way I have done business. I would have been a multi-billionaire of sorts if I had compromised on my principles, but I'm just one of those people who is dogged about making a point. It's possible for you to be principled on how you do business. And that's why I explained we have three arms of our business expression. Our enterprise expression has the business leg, the social impact leg, and the corporate social responsibility leg. So we wouldn't bribe, we wouldn't do anything illegal, but we will work through those three different arms. So I must tell you, a few of the people who London Global Services trained 30 years ago, and you can imagine, I'm managing directors, CEOs, and executives all over the world. So, I mean, to God be the glory, quite a lot of our business programs and projects we're running at the moment were practically giving to us on a platter of gold because we were competitive. They understood the quality services we delivered, but they also appreciated the value and the investment we had put in their life for them to become CEOs, executives, and entrepreneurs successful all over the world. So we've gone the very long haul. Our strategy is long term. We're not into short, medium-term strategies. Most of our projects are 10, 15-year projects. I don't mess around with short-term, quick fix programs. I tend to look at the big picture, and I split the big picture into short-term business objectives, medium-term social impact objectives, and long-term corporate social responsibility. And it all adds up, and I'm true to my purpose.
I really like that one of the things that you've brought up, I do a lot of coaching and mentoring. One of the things I make sure that the people I mentor, that they're very clear about their values, and that the world around them can change, but they need to stay true to themselves, because to thyself be true. First of all, you have to know yourself, and you have to know your values. So I really like the fact that no matter how volatile that world is, no matter the culture of that world, in order for you to navigate your organization, your shape to the shore, you stay true to your values and to your purpose. I really like that. So tell me, Ngozi, can you continue with that train of thought? How have you managed to do business in that type of environment?
Oh, absolutely. First, I just wanted to say I'm seeing so much synergy here. I was a tree climber, I was a tomboy. It looks like you were COP27 too. Were you at COP? I was just at COP, so that was kind of interesting. But you know, Winifred, that's a very important question. I will actually tell you a little bit more of a story. So in our agriculture business, for example, we ran into some major issues, right? And so the way the agriculture supply chain works, it's commodity. And if you know anything about commodity, pricing is critical. So even after you've done quality control and you've done, you try to do amazing business management, you're trying to make sure that your process and your operations is gold standard or world standard, pricing is still an issue. So every dime matters. The ability to manage what happens on the field, on the farm fields, what happens in the processing place, what happens through logistics and storage, and then ultimately when that stuff gets on a boat to be shipped out. And this is the more unflattering side of doing business in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is unfortunately, there's this notoriety around being steadfast to the promise you make. So today you might get you put out an agreement, someone signs a contract and they say, oh yes, we're going to do X. Yeah, now people have a tendency to promise with passion and a lot of, emotion and all of that. And if you're not careful, you will ride on that same emotion. You'll be confident. But in the same vein, they will come back to you the day before and explain to you why it didn't happen with no qualms, as though you should understand. The most shocking. So if you're someone who is disciplined and all that, is very shocking. So one of the things that we've learned to do, so, just like Dr. Amal was talking about, we really stay away from anything that's illegal. For me, it's a conscience thing. It's not even, I cannot preach a word and then do the opposite. For me, it's just a conscience thing. So it's not even a question. So our team, we don't do anything that's illegal. If it takes longer, it takes longer. So we try to build in proper project management schemes into what we do. But the things that are frustrating is when fuel scarcity happens, our business gets upended. You understand? When someone just on a whim decides to block a road, or unfortunately, Boko Haram activity happens in the north, our business gets impacted. So it is tough. I can't even pretend about it. It is tough, tough, tough. But what I've learned is that when you just keep your head up and you keep going and you learn to, I try to build a fabulous relationship with our partners because I'm open, I'm honest, I give them the good, I give them the bad. I don't give them too much of the ugly because I think that's what you have to manage. As a business person, you have to manage the ugly because if you scare your customer, they'll run away. So you have to learn how to manage that. But because of that close relationship, we have one of the biggest suppliers in the US that has stuck with us through thick and thin. In fact, sometimes I ask him, I'm like, why are you sticking with us? It's just like, I like you. I like the way we do business. I like the way you engage. And I think it's those principles that we try to also teach through the entire supply chain. Now, when you guys disappoint us, you disappoint all these people. But guess what, right? The reason why they stay with us is because we're honest, because we're building something that is greater, just like what you were talking about, and it influences them. So I won't lie, it's been tough, but at the end of the day, when we close, when we ship something, we all celebrate and we use it as an opportunity to teach and say, you can't, if all of us say Nigeria is so horrible, we never do anything. But at the same time, we're honest that these things you do affect the way people view us. They affect the way people do view. So I've just learned a lot of, expectation management. I've learned to be open with my clients. I've also learned to be open with our suppliers and to walk through that. And then I'll just give you another quick example with respect to investment. On the investment arm, one of the things I learned is that you cannot parachute an idea, no matter how wonderful, from the United States to Nigeria. Two different things. You have to spend the time to understand the ecosystem that exists. So it behooves us to ensure that those we work with are properly educated and properly equipped. So we do more than what we will do with the VC firm I was with in the US. It was pretty much, investing, fundraising, due diligence, just all the, 9 yards that you had to do here. Here, there's training, there's relationship building, there's understanding the ecosystem, there's helping them with a pipeline, there's cutting out nonsense when you know it's not true, just removing all the rubbish, and there's curating things that make sense, right? And putting some things on the back burner that people are swearing up and down on. So you're going to work harder. But I also look at it like the whole system is a startup. And so you get to learn these wonderful things and you get to gain the skills that you never would have had. So, for me, it's been tough, can't lie, but the wins are also just different. They're just beautiful because of what you're able to do without having to compromise yourself to still achieve something. So
there's something that comes across, my apologies, I went off for a bit, so I lost a bit of what you said. But something that comes across the conversation we've had today, I'm going to bring it to an end, is between you and Dr. Ibilola, is that your love for people, your passion for people is really what fuels your work. It's really how you are able to keep your business a for purpose and a for profit. Because doing business in a terrain as tough as the terrain you've described involves a lot of clarity. And so the clarity about your values. You know, you talked earlier about people. Dr. Bilola talked a lot about human capacity building and the amazing work that she has done. So when we look at the Ikigai Way, what has really looking at that as a framework, you know, to navigate your life, being committed to people, wanting to take people from where they are to a better place. That is really what I hear between you and Dr. Bilola. And really, that's what we're doing in WITI Africa. Because in WITI Africa, we're looking for rock stars like you. I see LinkedIn is my playground. That's how I found Dr. Bilola. And that's how I found Nelly Chiboy, who is a CNN hero. And she's going to be kind of nominated within the next few days. I mean, she was nominated to be a CNN hero. But that's how I found people like you to showcase you on the WITI platform so that we have Africans telling their own stories to change the narrative that people have about Africa in terms of the values that we have and the way we do business, and really in terms of the products that we are actually designing and delivering within Africa and globally. So I thank you very much for sharing all of this with the audience. I don't think we have any more time. We have 3 minutes. Does anybody have a question? If you have a question and we are not able to get to your question, I promise you I will look for you and answer your question if you don't get a chance, if you put it on the chat. But I want to turn it over to the audience to ask you if you have a question. You've heard from top leaders, the principles that they use in Africa, you can use it wherever you are because your environment is not as volatile. So if you have any question, please ask them now and put it on the chat. Thank you.
Yes, so please feel free to put your questions in the chat. Winifred, I think we're going to probably have to do another session where we delve into even more depth with both Ngozi and Dr. Bilola, because they bring so much wealth of experience and knowledge that we can all learn from. And so I'm proposing that we do a WITI session with each one of them so that we have enough time, because now we're like 2 minutes to go and we don't want to go over our time, obviously. One thing you could do also, Winifred, is talk a little bit about WITI Africa, maybe some of the other people that are part of WITI Africa, so that we can expand awareness of what WITI Africa stands for. You're muted, dear.
Oh, thank you so much. Our mission in WITI Africa, like I said earlier on, is to amplify the voices of African tech professionals that are using technology to make an impact within their communities in Africa. So right now we have been kind of focused on edutech. Those are people that have a lot of have edutech startups, education technology startups, to promote education in Africa, to provide or to upskill the citizens. I already talked about why that is necessary. We're looking at moving to fintech and health tech. Those are areas where there are business opportunities. And the reason why we're showcasing these people on the WITI platform is to actually, for not only for them to tell their stories, but for people, the audience, to look at Africa as a place that they can potentially invest, that they can partner with the speakers we bring to our platform through angel investing. Ngozi has talked a lot about that, about investing through angel investing, so that they can scale up their solutions. And Caroline, meeting has made me very conscious of time after yesterday, and I don't see any clock, so, and I don't have my glasses. So Tosi, tell me, how am I doing?
We are right on time, so
right
thank
on
you very
time.
much for this wonderful session, everyone, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank
That was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And if you for those that want, you could see in the chat that the speed networking link is there. We're going to go to the main room. This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
guys.
thank you so much to the audience. Thank you for attending our session. Appreciate it. Thank you.